Hey everybody, this is Tammy, and I just want to welcome you back to Paper Crafting with Tammy. If you haven't visited my channel before, you'll notice that there's a combination of scrapbooking and card making videos, along with just some random paper crafting ideas that I like to share when I come up with something new. Today we're going to be putting together a layout that is really a combination of Kiwi Lane and Close to My Heart. So I am definitely not a product purist. I love lots of different things. I have friends that are consultants with other companies. We kind of joke that we're paying friendship dues when we buy things back and forth. So I love to see how I can get things to play well together, because I have a big collection of stamps and die cuts and things like that that I like to use along with my Kiwi Lane templates. So what we're going to be working on today is actually a future class of mine. If you saw a previous video that I did using a die cuts with a view paper pack called Ferns and Palms, this is more paper from that pack. So this is the section that I had separated out for my next class. And I sat down over the weekend and was trying to figure out exactly what I would want to do with that. So I had saved this journaling tag. And then these are the papers that I had decided that I wanted to use and that I had set aside for that next class. I had also decided I was going to use this Sage Close to My Heart paper as my background. So that's really the palette that I was working with. Okay. Then I got busy and decided, well, let me take a look at our idea book. And I pulled out idea book number 2. Okay, so this is volume 2. And I found this layout here on page 13 that I thought that might be a great jumping off place. And so this is what I used as my initial design idea. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it out very similar to that to start with. And then I'll show you kind of how I pulled in some Close to My Heart stamps, some die cuts, and some other tools to personalize this layout, turn it into something I could use for a class and something that hopefully you can use at home. If you have purchased that Die Cuts with a View paper pack and you want directions for any of the layouts that I've done with it, this will be my 3rd class that I've designed using that paper pack. So I'd be happy to share those with you. Just drop me a message in the comments. We could get a private message going back and forth, so I could get an email or some way to get those directions to you. So let me set that aside. And I'm going to use templates to go ahead and lay this out. So the nice thing about the idea book is it shows right away what templates they used. So I know that I need Chestnut Drive 2A and 2B for these border pieces. And then really there was a lot of photos on this layout, so I was excited about that. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I like to fit a lot of photos. I love scrapbooking, but I do not like just using paper to use paper, if that makes sense. I really like to make my work count. I squeeze as many photos as I can onto a layout. So they had a couple of 4x5s here. They had used this center space for a journaling block. Now, I had this journaling block that I had saved, so I could use it maybe up here. For now, I haven't made that decision, so I'm just going to leave that out. I did pull out a couple of other ideas. I could do a journaling piece, something like that, with that captions piece. Or the way they show it, it looks like just kind of a long journaling section with a bracket cut at the bottom. So I could also do something like that. Or I could turn it into a photo. So I haven't really made up my mind on that yet. I'll leave both of those there. They have this tag poking out over here under this border. and then a couple of small photos up here at the top. They actually had a 3x3 up here and a 2x2. 2x2s are a little small for me, so I think I'm going to swap that out, and I'll do a larger photo here as well. And then there was room here for a title, and they used a couple of things for embellishments. So this Springtime 3 butterfly was part of their layout, and then a little layered cluster of flowers just up here in the corner. So as I got looking at this and trying to decide what I wanted to use and what I wanted to incorporate, I pulled out this Close to My Heart Beautiful Day stamp set. And I really like this Beautiful Day that's a stamp and die cut. So I did create this to go here on the page. Okay. I also pulled out these stitched flowers because I thought, you know, I've got these die cuts. Rather than going ahead and cutting all of these other elements by hand, I think I'm going to pull in these stitched flowers. Okay. So let me do some replacement and show you what I came up with. Okay. Two of the pages that I had already decided were going to be brought into my layout were these two different green patterns. And for a while I kicked around the idea of setting up my kits so that each kit had maybe 2 sheets of this or 2 sheets of this, but I ended up deciding it was actually okay. And I left it, the 2 different ones. And you can see how this comes together with the 2 different types. So I'm using this piece here, and then I'm using this darker one over on this side. Okay. And I want to leave a little border down here at the bottom, just as a kind of a reminder of that background color. I like the way that those pages play together, and I thought that turned out great. I chose the floral to be my border piece. So I just like that kind of playful floral on here. And then I pulled in the light pink. This actually has a really faint hexagon drawn on it, but it is just a real light pink cardstock with some texture. I'm going to use that for matting my photos. Okay. I did decide to go ahead and just use, these are 3 3/4 by 5. And I went ahead and pulled in 3 of them and decided I wasn't going to make this a journal block. I'm going to go ahead and leave that as a photo spot. But I really liked making these a little bit smaller this time so you can have that nice dark green pop of color in the background. And then these are a couple more photos for here. So this is a 3x4. This one's a 3x3. Okay. I cut the tag out of a little bit darker pink. And again, it's just gonna sneak out from under here. I may do it this way. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I figured if I have a little bit more of it showing, I could actually do my journaling right here on this tag. Okay. Then it's a kind of a multi-purpose element. Using that Close to My Heart stamp and die set, Beautiful Day, I cut my title. And this is using the julep ink. And then I had to figure out what I was going to bring in for my other elements. So I told you I wanted to use this Stitch Flowers die cut set. So I did cut some flowers and some leaves to be part of this kit. And I used some of Close to My Heart's cardstock that has the darker color on one side and the lighter color on the other. So I decided I would go ahead and have the flowers be the little bit darker pink. And I used the shimmer brushes to go ahead and outline around the edge of these. And I'm going to show you in just a minute the technique that you use with these. There's a little bit of a learning curve with these for me for some reason. So I want to just share what I did. So these flowers can be staggered around kind of however you want to do them. I really like that with this double-sided cardstock, I was able to make the flower center a little bit lighter. I'm gonna do one there. And I like the center on either one of these, but I think I'm gonna use this little bigger center here. And then I might have one just kind of tucking behind this title. There are 3 in this set, so it was easy to cut all 3 at once. And people who take this class from me in the future will get all of those die cuts along with some die cut leaves. So the way that those die cuts work, there's already 4 leaves in the set. So I went ahead and cut all 4 of those out of this darker green cardstock. It is lighter on the back, but I didn't like that color as much with this. So I went ahead and left them the dark green. And then I used a shimmer brush to add a little bit of sparkle to those as well. So obviously you can see I do like my bling, just a little bit though. I'm not super duper blingy. I think I'll do a couple of leaves there and a couple with this one, just as a little pop of color. And then I decided it needed one more thing, and I pulled out this julep shimmer trim. And of course now it's gone, but I'm on a hunt with, I know, a couple of different Close to My Heart instructors. So now I'm searching for more julep shimmer trim so that I'll have enough for my class kits. So I'm just going to use 2 strips of this. These are just 12-inch strips. I cut them on my trimmer so I do not have to worry about them being sticky until I'm ready to use them. So that's the basic layout that I came up with, kind of as a marriage between my Kiwi Lane templates and allowing me to get it all laid out, and then creating my borders straight from my templates and my tag. And then I use the Close to My Heart stamps and die cuts to create the other embellishments. So I really love how these things are all playing together, and I think this will be a great class. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and show you a little bit about these shimmer brushes. So this is just the little embellishment bag that'll be part of that class. I'm just going to use one of these flowers. So these shimmer brushes, when they come, they've got a little protective ring here that keeps the ink from charging in the pen. So that's already gone because I have used this marker before. Just going to give it a little shake. And what I have found is when you squeeze here, sometimes you end up charging it with a little bit more than you're expecting. So it's good to do a little bit off to the side, okay? And you can see it kind of bubble as it fills, but I just have noticed that sometimes I get more than I'm expecting and I'll make a little puddle. So I will squeeze and pull off of my flower rather than taking a chance that I'm gonna get a big blobby puddle right in the middle. So I absolutely love these. They just, for me, they can be a little bit temperamental. If you have some tips and techniques that maybe I'm missing, feel free to leave them in the comments. I know, we all have our strengths. So I went ahead and went over all of the stitched lines, and then I decided I did want to go ahead and outline this as well. So I just did a quick little line around the edge. I think it's so important to remember when you're crafting that things do not need to be perfect, that sometimes it's that imperfection that really creates something beautiful. So there is an example of what that ends up looking like, and hopefully you can see a little bit of that shimmer. Okay. I did the same thing with the leaves. This marker has already been used, this brush. So again, I'm going to charge it off of my leaf just to be sure that I don't start a big puddle. And I went over those stitched elements again. And this, whoop, I'm squeezing a little bit, got a little bit of a blurb there. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and outline also and give that a little touch of shimmer. Okay. So as these dry, you can actually see it a little bit better. Not as big of an accent as, say, Stickles. It's a little more subtle than that, but really beautiful. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this video today and you'd like to see more tips and tricks and ideas for using different products in the future. So if that's the case, please hit my subscribe button and that little bell for notifications, and be sure to tune in when I put up something new. Thanks for joining me today, and get busy crafting. Bye-bye.